Hello everyone and welcome you all to another chapter of the Blender Essential tutorial. So now we are on our chapter number 11 and here we'll be learning about the visibility and the collections. Okay, so we'll be learning about all of that in detail here in this class. So let's not waste time and let's get started. So over here, as you guys can see, now I'm here in the workspace and here in my 3D panel, you guys can see I do have my objects right over here. Okay, so now first off, as you guys can see, if I change its angle, let's say if I come here and from here, if I just move the x-axis, okay, so let's say if I come here and let's just move this thing around. Okay, so if you move this one right over here, now from this angle, you are not able to see your camera. Okay. And if you're trying to select your camera, you are not able to do that. Okay. So now you will be able to understand it in a better way if I show you guys an example. So let's come here. Let's move the x-axis again. And from here, now let's try to duplicate this one. So to duplicate, click on Shift D and after that just move it right over here in the y-axis. Let's come and click here Y and now again Shift D and again I will just click on Y to duplicate and maybe over here I will just create 5 or 6 of them. Okay, so come here, click on Y and now move it towards this axis and Shift D and again I will click on Y to move it up right over here. Okay, so here as you guys can see on the y-axis I do have different objects, and if I want to view it from a different angle, if I come from here, you guys can see now I am able to view it only one object. Okay, so over here you guys can see actually I do have 5 cubes over here. Okay, so over here the cube 1 2 till 4 I have, and over here I do have the main cube option as well. Okay, so now if I want to select this one over here from my 3D view panel, what I need to do is I need to click on control, and now once I click on control, if I click, you guys can see without me changing the gizmos I am able to select the other one. So here you guys can see this is how you guys can come here, and this is how you guys will be able to select. Okay, so you guys can come here, click on control, and this is how you guys can basically move down. Okay, otherwise if you come here and if you click on alt, here you do have the option where or which cube you want to go. Okay, so let's say cube 3. Okay, so you guys can come here and select that and work with that one as well. Now if you want to give this one up any rotation and stuff, you guys will be able to give all of this right over here. So now let's come here and let's just delete all of this. Okay, so let's come here, let's click on delete option, and now again I do have my only cube here on my screen. Okay, so now let's say if I come here, select this one, and from here if I go to the edit mode, let's click on tab, and now what I'll do is I will just deselect everything. So I will come here on top to the select option, and now I will click on none. And now let's say if I want to come here and if I want to just select it. Okay, so over here you guys can see the front part of this particular queue has been selected, but if I just change my gizmos over here, you guys can see all this part over here on the sides are not basically selected, so I do have to select twice to work with all of that. Okay, but if you come here using the select all option, you guys will be able to do that. Otherwise, let's just click outside, and from here now you guys are able to view this particular thing only as a solid view. Okay, but over here we also do have different kind of views. Okay, so on top we will be learning about all of these view options. So now over here, let's say if I want to select only this particular part. Okay, let's say I just want to select only this particular part of my object over here. So in that case, now what I'll do is here, as I have shown you all of these options, so here I will just on my toggle x-ray. Okay, so I will show you guys how it basically works. So if you come here on top right corner and if you click on this option, over here now you are able to view it in a X-ray mode. Okay, so over here you guys can see you are able to view it in a X-ray mode. And now if you come here and try to select, you guys can see now you are only able to select this particular part for your work. Or let's say if I come here, if I do want to select only this part, I can also do that. Otherwise, if I come here and you guys can see, this is how you guys will be able to select this thing out. And if you select the whole thing, this whole particular thing will also get selected. Okay, so this is basically the usage of the toggle X-ray. And over X-ray I do have different viewpoint or shading option as well. So here if I give this viewpoint shading right over here, this is how it will look. And if I come here and if I give it a rendered or 3D view, this is how it will basically look right over here. So now again I will come here and I will just select this shading. And after that, here also you do have another option. Okay, over here this is basically the wireframe view. Okay, or you guys can also call it as the wireframe display. So if you turn this off also, okay, and if you turn this particular or this wireframe display on, okay, it will automatically turn on this particular option over here as well. Okay, so make sure that you do that over here. And now if you come here and let's say I want to select this particular part, you will be only able to use this particular part of the image or of the object from here. Okay, and this also works quite good in the object mode. Okay, so if I come here and let's go to my object mode using tab. And now if I come to this view and from here let's try to add something. Let's come here, let's go to mesh, and from here if I want to take a UV sphere over here, now you guys are able to see this particular UV sphere right over here in the center. Okay, so now from here if you want to move it, you guys can just click on G and you guys can basically move it around. And now you guys can place it right over here as well. Okay, and now from this particular sphere, let's say if I am here in this particular option. Okay, so here you guys are not able to see or select that one quite well. Okay, so you just have to double click right over here. And now again if you want to view this using this particular option, let's say let's come here and let's take this option over here as well. Okay, you guys are not able to select that one quite well. Okay, as this one is under this particular cube. So I will come here back again to this particular option. Okay, and here you guys will be able to select all of that and resize it accordingly as well. So here, once you're done understanding about this, okay, I will just turn this back off again. And now what I'll do is I will come here and from here I will go to the edit mode again. Okay, so I will come here, go to the edit mode, and over here you guys can basically see the overlays as well. Okay, so over here you guys can actually see that I do have the overlay right over here. Okay, so now what I'll be able to do is I will come here and here you do can see the viewpoint overlays. And now if you want to scale it up, I have already told you how you will be able to scale up or down of these particular cubes right over here. So you'll be able to manage all these things from here itself. And now if you want to turn all of this back off, you guys can actually turn this back off again. Okay, if you want to deactivate anything, you guys can come here and you guys can just deactivate the floor quite like that. Okay, and if you want to just deactivate the 3D cursor, you guys can remove the 3D cursor from here itself. Okay, and just beside that you do have the mesh edit mode. Okay, if you turn on the mesh edit mode over here also, you guys can see if you don't want to see the faces over here, and if you want to work on with the shading and all, you guys can come here and work with all these things from here itself. And now if I want to select with shortcut, okay, so I can come here and when I am here in my edit mode, what I can do is if I click on Z over here, you guys can see I do have all of these options. Okay, so from here I will select the wireframe, and now let's come here and only select this particular part. Okay, let's come down right over here, and from here let's try to select this. Okay, so here you guys can see I am just selecting only that particular part. Okay, so you guys come here again, Z, and let's go to the wireframe view. And from here, now let's say I want to select this particular part in total. You guys can come inside and just work with that particular part here in the center as well. Okay, so this is how you guys will be able to select all of this thing up. If you want to just turn this toggle X-ray, you guys can come here and turn this off as well. Okay, so now from here again, if you want to view the wireframe, click Z, and from here now this one is in the wireframe mode. Okay, so come here, click on the wireframe mode. So now if you want to turn them back all off again, let's say I do have this one on over here as well, this mesh edit mode. Okay, so now if you want to turn all of this back off again, what you can do is you guys can just click here onto the overlay option and it will just turn right over here. Now let's go again to the solid mode from here. And now from here, what you'll be able to do is if you come here and let's look at this toggle option. Okay, so over here you guys can see the gizmos option. So from here you guys can see I do have this particular gizmo over here in my 3D panel. Okay, and now I do have this one as well. Let's say if I come here, let's select this, and here you guys can see if I just click on S in the Y. Okay, so this is how you guys will be able to work on with that as well. Okay, so you guys can come here and basically able to work right over here. And now if you want to select all, you guys can come here and click on select all. Okay, so here the whole thing is getting selected. Let's go to object mode, and from object mode I will come here and go to the edit mode again. And now if I go to this toggle option and if I just turn it off, here you guys can see now you are not able to see those gizmos. And if I come here, you are not able to see the viewport as well. Okay, like if you do want to scale, okay, how you will be able to do that, you don't have the options right over here. So you guys can come here and let's place it right over here again, and I'll on my toggle option as well. Okay, so over here you guys can basically select individually as well, like which one you don't want and which one do you want over here. So now just beside this toggle option, I do have the selectability and the visible option as well. Okay, so if you come here and let's say you don't want your cameras, okay, so for that I will just zoom out that I am able to see all of my objects, and let's come here, and from here let's say I don't want to see any of the cameras. Okay, so for that I will just turn this off again, and now here you are not able to see the camera over here. Okay, and now if you come here and let's say from here what you want to do is you want to view the camera again, over here you guys can actually view the camera again from here. Okay, so now let's come here and let's see about this option. Okay, so now from here let's say I don't want to select the light. Okay, so for that I will come here, I will select this icon, and now if I try to select it, I won't be able to select. So now let's move around the gizmos, and from here now if I am trying to select this one, okay, so over here you guys can see now I am only able to select it right over here. Let's come here and let's try to select it. Okay, so over here you guys can see now I am not able to select my light. Okay, so I can come here again and I can just click on selection, and now if I click, okay, so let's say I will come here and now I will just click here, and now I am able to select my light as well. Okay, so the same way if I come here and if I go to my object mode, so from here let's say if I come here and if I just move around my gizmos, okay, so I can come here and I can just select my light. Okay, so this is the way of how you will be able to work with this particular option. If you want to view the mesh, or if you don't want to view the cube, okay, you guys can come here and you guys can just off this particular mesh, or if you want to make it invisible, you guys can come here and make it invisible from here as well. Okay, but now instead of doing it from here, you do have the other option as well. Okay, so over here if you want to see, like if you don't want to view the cube, okay, you guys can come here and just turn it up. Okay, so over here now I don't have that particular cube, but I am only able to see this particular sphere. Okay, so now this one over here in the offset panel as well. Now if I don't want the render file to be over here, okay, so what I can do is I can come here and maybe I can turn this off. Okay, so if I don't want to see it in the render file as well, okay, so basically render file is basically the final file which you will be able to see. So we'll be learning about that later. Okay, and now if you come here, if you just turn this off, okay, now you won't be able to see that cube over here in your final file or the render file as well. Okay, so I will just turn this back on again. Okay, so you guys can actually do it from here in the offset panel as well. Otherwise there is another option. For that you just need to go to the object option, and now so now over here, I will select hide unselected. Okay, so over here, as you guys can see, now I am not able to see all of this. Okay, because all these objects over here are actually hidden. So now again, I can go to object and go to show hide. And now I can click on show hidden objects. Okay, so over here, now you guys can see all of these four objects are over here as well. So you guys can also select the shortcut key. Let's click on shift, and with this one, now if I just click on H, I do have my objects hide. And now if I just click on Alt H, here you guys can see I have just unhided my objects over here. Okay, so this was about the visibility right over here. Okay, now we will also learn that how you will be able to come here, and now from this restriction toggles, if I on this particular viewpoints, and now if I come here and on the selectability, and now over here you guys can see that I do have the render option, and over here I do have the selection option and the eye option and also this particular option. Okay, so from here if I come and if I disable the viewpoint, let's say if I come here to the cube and if I just disable the viewpoint, you guys can basically see that now I am not able to see the cube over here. Okay, so I can basically select these things out and work with all of this quite easily. So if I just turn this off again and if I click on the eye icon, you guys might be thinking that okay, this both are the same thing. But if when you do have different kind of objects, okay, like different kind of hard settings, that time this one is quite important. So you guys can come here and check all of these things out. You guys can think this one icon, okay, this monitor icon basically as the higher version of this eye icon. Okay, so you guys can come here and if you want to turn it on and off back again, you guys can come here and see all of this. Okay, so you guys can come here and check these things out. And again, if you want to turn it off again, you guys can come here and just turn it off from here. Okay, let's say from here, what you do is if you come over here, and now from this particular cube, if you want to unhide, okay, here you guys can see this particular eye icon is basically on, but now you are not able to see that particular cube which you had. Okay, so now you guys can come here and once you on this one, let's select this option as well, and now you guys can see here it was basically off, that's why you were not able to see the cube. So you can turn that on back again. Okay, and after that, let's say if you come right over here, and from here specifically you don't want to basically move this particular object or this particular cube, but inside you want to work with the sphere individually without just moving this particular position. So in that case, if you want to focus in only one object and work, in that case you guys can come here, go to view, and from view you guys can come here and basically go to the local view option, and from here you guys can on the toggle local view. Okay, so you guys can come here and you guys can basically on the toggle local view. Okay, so for that, if I come here, let's select the sphere, and from here now let's go to view, and now let's go to local view, and from here you guys can basically on the toggle view. Okay, so from here basically now you guys can see this is only an object. Now you guys might be thinking that okay, you do only have one sphere right over here. Okay, but now if you just go back and only for this particular object you are able to see this particular thing quite like this. Okay, so you guys can come here and if you want to make any changes, you guys can actually do or make the changes. If you want to change the positioning, you guys can come here and change the positioning individually from here as well. Okay, so now again I will just come back, and from here now if you just go back, okay, go to view, and from here now let's go to local view, and now you guys can actually click on local view. So now here you guys can see the positioning over here have changed a bit. Okay, so you guys can come here, click on G, and you guys can basically move this around. Okay, so if you want to get it or look it from a different view, you guys can come here. Let's just zoom in using Control plus. And now again I will click on G to move because I just want to put it over here in the center. Okay, so I will just put it right over here. And now if you try to view it from other angle, this is how it actually looks. Okay, so if you want to scale it down also, you guys can click on S, and now you guys can click on Z, and here you guys can see that you are able to decrease the size. And if you want to decrease the size from the x-axis, you guys can come here, click on S, and after that you guys can click on X. Okay, so you guys can come here and click on X, and you guys can basically place this one quite like this. Okay, so here this is how it actually looks. And let's come here and let's change it from the y-axis again. So click on S, and now I will basically click on Y, and what I can do is I can come here, let's click on S, and now I can just decrease the size accordingly. Okay, so now you guys can basically view it right over here, that now this particular cube looks quite great. So using this particular option, you guys will be able to work on right over here to create some nice animation from all the dimensions. So now over here, what I'll do is if I want to select multiple objects, okay, so for that I will come here, I will change the view, okay, and if I want to zoom out, I will just zoom out from here. Okay, so I will just take multiple objects. Let's select this one, let's click Shift D, and let's click on G, and now from here you guys can actually move on. Okay, so Shift D, again I will just duplicate this one and place it right over here, and again Shift D and place it right over here as well. Okay, so again I will click on Shift D, and now I will just place these things quite over here as well. So now let's say I want to select all of these 5 things right over here at one toggle animation. Okay, so for that, here you guys can see I do have the option of scene. Okay, and here you do have the scene collection and also the collection. Okay, so you guys can come here, and what you can do is from here basically you guys will be able to create a new collection. Okay, so now let's say if you come right over here, let's take all of these cubes all together. If you want to select this, so let's come here, let's select all of this, and now you guys can just drag and drop it right over here. Okay, so you guys can come here and you guys can basically move here in the scene collection. Okay, so over here you guys can see now this one is basically under scene collection. Okay, so over here if I just on the collection as well, under collection I only have these 2 options. Okay, so now if I come here and if I just turn off this collection option, okay, you guys are not able to see the camera and also the light. Okay, so you guys can come here and on this one again, and now if I want to select all of this, let's come here, select all of these cubes, and now what I'll do is I'll come here and I will click on new collection. Okay, so over here now I do have a new collection, and what I can do is I can just move this one up to the collection number 2. Okay, so now if I just turn it off and I can just name this one. Okay, I can come here and let's name this one as cubes. Okay, so I will come here and name this one as cubes, and I will just name this one as CL. Okay, so this one is camera and light. Okay, so I will just name this one, and now here if I don't want to view, okay, so I can come here and I can just turn it off, and over here if I don't want the light and the camera, I can turn it off from here as well. Okay, so now if I come here, let's move the angle from here, and now as you guys can see I do have all of this right over here, and if I do want to off, and here you guys can see that okay, I do have these 6 items right over here. Okay, so now you guys can come to this particular options if you want to have this one as a new, or if you want to put this one in the scene collection, you guys can come here and you guys can basically put here in the scene collection. Okay, so now here you guys can see now this one is basically not under the CL or the cube option. Okay, so now this one is just a separate layer. Okay, so you guys can actually select a separate layer right from here also. Okay, and here now I have this particular mode called the view layer mode. Okay, so now if I want to turn it off and on again, and now let's say I will just turn off this one, but over here I will have this particular cube by itself. Okay, so now I have all of these options to just make our work look better. Okay, I can use all this scene collection option, I can actually create new collection, and I can have a lot of them right over here, from where I will be able to select the visibility and also the rendering option. So now from this, if you come right over here, and let's say if you want to add something over here in this particular cube, let's say if you want to add something right over here, you guys can come here, and maybe from here, if you just click on Shift A, okay, here if I come onto this option, and from here, if I click on Shift A, here now I will just come here, Shift A, and now if I try to create a mesh, okay, so let's come here, create a cube. Okay, so here you guys can see another cube has been added. Okay, so if you come here and let's say where it's basically added, here you guys can see in the camera option it is being added. So what I can do is I can just bring this thing down right over here. Okay, so now I can come here and I can just bring it right over here down as well. Okay, so this was about selecting all of these things. Okay, how you will be able to select, and also over here you guys will be able to do the instancing. Okay, so if you are used to work in group, it might take some time for you guys to learn. Okay, so there is another way. If you want to group things up, you guys can come here, and from here what you can do is you guys can go to the view option, and from here you guys can actually go to viewpoint, or you guys can just click on this perspective option. I'll come here and I'll click on Shift A, and from here I will just go to an empty option, and from here I will take plane axis. Okay, so now I do have this plane axis option. Using G, if I do want to move this, I can come here and basically I will be able to move this one up. Okay, so I can come here and I can just move this one up, and after that what you guys can do, let's select this cube and let's put it inside the empty option. Okay, so come here, let's just put it over this empty option. If you come here, click on this option, let's come here and let's try to put it inside this one. Okay, otherwise what I can do is I can come here and let's take the cubes, and from here I will just move it right here. Okay, so after that, if you come and if you try to give this thing up a rotation, okay, so if you come here, let's take these cubes. Okay, so let's come here, let's take these cubes, and after this drop down, you guys can see using Shift I can just select all of it. Okay, so come here and using Shift you guys can select all of it, and if you want to give it a rotation, okay, so using R you guys can come here and you guys will be able to give this thing up a rotation. So here you guys can see G to move. Okay, and here if I click on R, you guys can see I am able to rotate it over here as well. So I can place it right over here, and after that, if I want to come here and let's say I want to actually duplicate it, so in that case I will come here and now I will just select the cubes. Okay, and if you want to deselect it altogether, you guys can just unview all of this altogether from here itself. Okay, so come here, let's select all this thing up, and after that what I'm going to do is let's come here to, so for that I will click on Shift A, and after that here you guys can see collection instance, and from here now what I'll do is I will take the cubes, and now over here if I click on Shift D, you guys can see I can just duplicate this one. Okay, so now from here individually if I come, and let's say what I want to do is I want to select all of this, and from here I want to change anything up. Okay, so if you just click on G, over here. So I have just duplicated this part over here as well. And now if I click on R and if I try to give this thing up a rotation, you guys can see the rotation is applied to all of it over here. So now if you want to view it from other angles, if you want to change the x-axis, come here, select X, and now let's select this one, let's click on G. And now if you want to move it up, you guys can come here, and if you want to give this thing up a rotation, you guys can come here and give up a rotation as well. If you want to scale it up, you guys can come here and scale it up and down as well. So I will just scale it up quite like this. So this is all about instancing. So I hope you guys have understood this class on how you will be able to work over here in Blender for your selection. And also I have taught you guys about collection as well. So I hope to see you all in the next chapter where we'll be learning more about Blender. Take care everyone.